Stuck at home in quarantine. 5 o'clock. Why not have a drink with me?
Hello, happy Thursday. Good to be with you. Thank you for having a drink with me. Hope you are grabbing some spirits or beer or wine to continue or end your day. I had a fairly productive day today. Did a lot of work, which is good, both for getting work done and also keeping me off of Twitter and MSNBC. So I feel like that improves my mental health a little bit. But overall, doing good. Another day of quarantine. I think today is day 67 of quarantine. I have no idea. Excited tonight. I'm going to make myself a Black Manhattan, which is an Amaro cocktail, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite categories of cocktail. Last week we made a Little Italy, which you may remember was a play on a Manhattan that added Cynar. And so it was rye, sweet vermouth, and Cynar to make a Little Italy, combining American and Italy together for the Little Italy. And this cocktail is close to that, but basically doesn't have the sweet vermouth. So it is going to be basically a Manhattan that instead of the sweet vermouth, we toss the sweet vermouth and we use Averna instead, along with bitters. Most of the recipes I see have us using Angostura bitters and orange bitters, a little bit of each. Instead of the Ango, I'm excited I'm going to be using some beard bitters, which I think are going to be really nice in our cocktail. So let's get to it. This is going to be super simple. Oh, my jiggers! Time to grab my jiggers. So the nice thing about this too is I can just use one jigger, because we're going to use 2 ounces of rye and 1 ounce of Averna. I see a lot of folks might use bourbon in this also. I think that's fine. I'm obsessed with Rittenhouse, and I just love the spiciness of the rye in my drinks, and I think it's going to be balanced out nicely by the sweetness of the Averna. So I've got 2 ounces of my Rittenhouse. And let's talk about Averna for a second. Averna is a solid entry level, I would say, in terms of Amaros. Sicilian Amaro, like many of these companies, is super old. So the company dates back to 1868. But actually the recipe for this dates back long before that. I feel like most abbeys in Europe, there was this abbey in Sicily, and the monks would make this Amaro and other things. And so there was a businessman, a Sicilian businessman in that was nearby the abbey, and he was a benefactor of the abbey. So he supported them, he gave them money, and to show him their gratitude, they gave him the recipe. So this man's name was Salvatore Averna, after whose name is used on the bottle for the company there. And you can even see his name, Salvatore Averna, is right down below there. It'll be reversed, but right where I'm pointing there. So this is good. Like I said, it is a not too bitter. It's a pretty mild Amaro overall. Let's just taste a little bit of it on its own. And not too bitter, it's pretty sweet. I think it's 29% ABV, yeah, 29% ABV, so it's kind of mid-range in terms of alcohol percentages for Amari. But yeah, just like very, very, very mild but good, right? It's just like a standard nice balance of has some bitterness, have some sweetness. You get some orange, I feel like, a little bit of cola, maybe a little vanilla in it. Oh man, yeah, it's real good. And I think it's very accessible. I think is the word I'm looking for. A lot of folks can pick this up, and if you're not used to drinking a lot of Amari, can pick this up and won't be totally turned off by it, like some other ones, which can be a little more intense. But this you can just sip it on its own. It is a-okay. So I'm gonna take 1 ounce of the Averna to go with my 2 ounces of my rye. And a little bit of a mess there. And then I'm gonna do a dash each of beard bitters and orange bitters. One dash of beard and 1 dash of orange. Excellent. Grab some ice and we will stir this up. Just gonna sponge this down real quick. Messy workspace, right? Perfect. And let's do some nice meditative stirring of our cocktail. Very nice. Looks like Ben has joined us. Hello, Ben. Today we're making the Black Manhattan using 2 ounces of Rittenhouse, 1 ounce of Amaro Averna, and then a dash each of beard bitters and orange bitters. If you don't have Averna, I think you can totally use all their similar. Amari Ramazzotti would be a great replacement for this. I think you can use Chinar also. A lot of options that I think will give it a slightly different character. It'll be just as delicious. So I stirred this up, and let's strain into my beautiful Nicanora glass. And to garnish this, I'm just going to use a Luxardo cherry, which is going to be fantastic. I've seen some folks use some orange peel, either expressed up top or dropped right in. I don't think I'm going to do that today. I think I'm just going to go with the maraschino cherry garnish, and that'll be a day. We're just going to be real simple. Nice Thursday afternoon cocktail. Well, looks like I got 2 there. Oh well, guess I'll have to have 2. And just like that. And we have the Black Manhattan. One thing that might work well too, so I've been really digging these fancy cocktail picks that my sister-in-law Maggie got me for Christmas last year. Shout out to Maggie, thank you for these. And look at that, I think oh yeah, look at that. Works really well with this glass to just be kind of hanging out the side. I can adjust the height of the cherries if I want to. Just like that. Oh, it's beautiful. When am I going to be able to buy beard bitters in the store? I know. I should have, back when I started making my first batch of beard bitters, probably 8 years ago now. Gotten into the game back then when it was still a more nascent industry, but the bitters market is overrun with hipster bitters across the country. And so I think for now it's just going to be a hobby. Although I did tell you, Ben, and it wasn't a lie, I have some beard bitters set aside for you. So maybe I'll take a ride and you'll find some in your mailbox sometime soon. All right, so let's give this a taste. Living up to its name, it is nice and dark. Not quite black. You get some sunlight through it, but definitely a dark drink. Darkness from the rye, but especially look how dark that Averna is. So, very nice. Smells good. Get some sweetness. I feel like I'm getting some like orange. I don't know if that's from the orange bitters or from the Amaro. I'm definitely getting some of the cherry garnish. It's like my mom has joined. Hey Peg, how you doing, Mom? Ooh, that's really good. So comparing this to like an old-fashioned, which when I make my old-fashions, it's basically just bitters, rye, and some simple syrup to sweeten it up. This has the same amount of rye, probably a little bit later on the bitters, but the sweetness is all coming from the Amaro, and it really it tones down the rye a lot and balances it out. Nothing wrong with drinking rye. You can drink it straight, it'll be great, but I feel like this is just a nice balanced cocktail. Has a little bit of bitterness, but the Averna is not very bitter to begin with, so you're not getting much of that at all. It's a good drink. It's a boozy drink. Definitely spirits forward. You can taste the alcohol in it. Definitely comes through. But it's really nice. I quite enjoy it. If you like a Manhattan and you want to make it a little bit more interesting once in a while, I think this is a great option for that. It's very good. So, good thing to make, good thing to try on a Thursday night. I'm trying to figure out, technically starting tomorrow night into next week, I'm on spring break. I have next week off. Still trying to figure out exactly what having a break means in our world of quarantine, where I'm not going to go anywhere, not going to do anything, can't even go to the movies. So trying to figure out how to unplug and relax, I guess, in a way where I feel like overall, my workload had already been lower than when school is in session. I haven't had any pressure to wake up super early, so sleeping in isn't going to be the luxury that's going to make spring break next week. So still trying to figure out exactly what this means and how to really unwind and relax, as I'm sure many others, including Ben, I'm sure, trying to exactly figure out what is a break when you haven't left your house in over a month and you can't leave it for probably the next month. We'll see. maybe do some yard work. One thing I am actually looking forward to and excited about is our yard waste collection is going to start up again in the next couple of weeks. They collect yard waste on our recycling day, which is every other week from spring to the fall, but they stop over the winter. And so the last collection was the around Thanksgiving or maybe the first week in December. And then they're off through December, January, February, March, and most of April. But either next week or the week after, they will start picking up again. And I don't like to... We definitely have a lot of cleanup to do. We have old leaves, we have a lot of twigs and sticks, especially from that crazy storm we had on Monday. And I don't like to fill the bags and just have them sitting around for a long time, because if there's any moisture or water, or if it rains on them, if I leave them out in the open, then the bag just disintegrates and you go to pick it up and everything just falls out the bottom and you have a whole mess, and now you have the yard waste and you have this garbage leaf bag that you have to get rid of also. So it's just super annoying and I hate it. So I like to time when I do yard work with our yard waste days. But anyway, maybe next week I'll spend some time out in the yard to mix things up a little bit and get out of the house, weather permitting. But it's also very cold. I don't know if you guys have noticed this also, but it was cold this morning. When I was making the coffee this morning, there were snow flurries outside. I'm told that tomorrow night we might get a little bit of snow. And I heard Worcester might, I think I read the last time that Worcester got an inch or more of snow after April 15th was in 1993. So what is that, 27 years ago? And they have a chance of doing it tomorrow night. So we'll see if they get an inch up in the Seven Hills of Worcester. This is also, I also saw this is the longest stretch from 1993 until now that they haven't had that snow. So we'll see how it goes. And otherwise, I'm just gonna enjoy my cocktail. Maybe I'll try one of these cherries. Oh no, there's nothing better than that. All right, well, if you're joining me live, thank you for having a drink with me at 5. If you're joining me later on in the evening on my story, I hope you're having a drink with me then. Nice to see you all. Drop something in the comments to me, and I'll see you tomorrow night to lead us into the weekend and into my full break. Tomorrow night I'm going to be making my #1 best cocktail, will change your life, the Old Fashioned. If you're looking for something to grab in order to drink an Old Fashioned with me, I recommend the Rittenhouse Rye, but any rye or bourbon will do. I'm going to be using a simple syrup, 1-to-1 simple syrup. Bitters, I'll be using beer bitters. A backup could be Angostura bitters. And then you just need a lemon for the garnish. And that's all. You don't need any cherries. You don't even need the Luxardo cherries. And you'll need 1 big cube of ice. That's the other thing that I recommend. Although several smaller cubes of ice will be inferior but still spectacular. So join me with that tomorrow night.
It's 5 o'clock. Why not have a drink with me?
Cheers, everyone. See you tomorrow.